Welcome to Pink Caddy Garage. We're going to do our first at-home oil change on this 2016 Cadillac ELR. This should be applicable to all Cadillac ELRs 2014 and 16, and most of the first generation Chevy Volts are going to use this same setup, so if you've got one of those, this should help you too. Let's get started. First thing I discovered is that you can't use these drive-on ramps that you'd normally use for an oil change because this car is just too low in the front. So you've got jacking points back there on the frame like most cars, and then we've got a couple of jack stands for safety. So go ahead and plan on using those, and if you only have ramps, you need to go ahead and get you a jack and some jack stands to pull this off. As far as what you'll need for parts and tools, typical oil change stuff for parts, you need to get the proper filter. And this engine takes 3.7 quarts of oil. So I went ahead and bought the 5-quart jug so I'd have a little extra, because I just love having partially filled jugs of oil all over the place. And then as far as tools, you're going to need something to drain your oil into, like an oil drain pan or something where you can take it for recycling. And then your filter wrench or socket, whatever you like to use to get your filter off. Pretty easy to get to. And then you're going to need a 10mm ratchet socket combo or a wrench. And then also I would suggest having some kind of a piece of flexible plastic where you can put around where your oil filter is, just so you don't get oil and stuff on some of your under car components. So just keep things neat. Let's get going. Show you where everything is. So front license plate there. Kind of veer off over to the passenger side of the car. You can see your oil filter right there in your face. And then there is our oil drain bolt right there at the bottom of the pan. So we'll get our pan in place and get that oil out of there. Just one word of warning that's unique to the Cadillac ELR and probably the Chevy Volts as well, is that if you have your hood open and you happen to cycle the ignition on, you're not intending to start your engine, but these will start. That is the service mode. So just be aware you don't want to be pushing that button while your oil is draining or has drained out of your motor, because you don't want to do any engine damage. Back underneath now, we've got our little plastic bag there behind the filter, kind of let the oil drain down into the pan. I went ahead and loosened the bolt off camera because it takes two hands and I couldn't do it with the camera in my hand. But just going to want to get that bolt out. We'll let that oil drain out for a few minutes. See where we go from there. Let's get that filter out. Had to loosen the filter with two hands too, because it was apparently put on by Arnold Schwarzenegger. That shows the value of the old Amazon Prime bag there. Should always find a good use for recycling your Amazon packaging, so that's a good one. Just let both of those kind of drain down. That one will go pretty quick. Drain plug's going to take a little longer. Give it 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll be ready to start putting her back together. Looks like that's just about finished, so we're going to go back on with our new oil filter. Go ahead and put a light coating of oil on that rubber ring around the outside, just to help it go on and have a good fit. And I'll have to set the camera down for that. We've got our filter on, and then we're going to get our drain plug on next. Just wipe the area around where it's still dripping, and get this on. And if you have a torque wrench, it's really light torque, just around 10 foot-pounds on that. Back up top now, we're going to go ahead and put our oil in. So our dipstick is right here up front, so we're going to set that off to the side for a minute, and then we're going to put our oil in here. Like I say, 3.7 quarts is our capacity. We're going to start with about 3.5, and we'll check the stick. Checking our oil on our dipstick, we're about right there. Sorry, about right there on that third mark. We ran it a little bit, checked it, added a little bit, and got it up to that point. I think we're going to go with that for now. Last thing to do is to reset the oil service light. To reset the oil life, a lot easier than some cars we've got. Just on your steering wheel, hit select and scroll through the menu until you get to oil life. And as it says, To reset, hold select button. So just hold the select button down and you're finished. Thanks for watching.